we've been accidentally introducing critters to Midway for a long time. One of the more obvious ones now is the Midway emerald beetle, though.
It is extremely destructive to visible things, such as papayas or flowers or any type of leaf that they find attractive by scent. So the ramifications are extremely, extremely high.
A lot of the guests are really squeamish about these guys, and they're really anxious if they land on them. I've noticed this, especially if they're wearing sunscreen or perfume. The better they smell, the more the bugs like them.
Yeah, I think Hawaiian Islands are #1 in the country for the number or density of invasive species, and they've knocked down all the endemics or native species. They have limited enemies here.
It actually stops us from operating. If we are infected with a green beetle or something else that agriculture is concerned about, they'll just tie us up or anchor us out, more likely at a quarantine anchorage until they've figured out that the green beetle's gone. In the meantime, our economy stops.
But the main concern, we really want to make sure that they don't go beyond this point, that they aren't introduced in an area where they don't have their natural predators. And that's why they've done so well here on Midway. There's nothing here to keep them in check.
One of the spokes of the wheel that the refuge manager is tasked to keep track of is this emerald beetle program. There's a major concern with the emerald beetle, both from the visiting public out here, also the produce that they're trying to grow here, and also the possibility of the beetle going into the state of Hawaii and affecting the different plants there. The role here of the project leader is to make sure that the beetle research people that are working out here, that we are able to get them to the places that they need to go and to make sure that the resources are there through the volunteers that we have here working on the refuge or some of the permanent staff.
This is the dock, all right. I mean, this is where the concentration of the 10 traps are right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, what I walked through this area. This is where your redwood has already been curdled, mm-hmm. and it's all dead through here.
The ironwood trees, the only live ones are at the dock. On the rest of the island, they're all dead, right?
Right. Yeah. You've got another problem with beetles right in here, in this one section right here, where you've got the red-footed boobies and the frigate birds. Right in there is we've got new growth coming in through there. So if they don't get in there and cut that stuff down and spray it, we're going to be right back to square one again.
Beetle habitat will build back up.
Wow. But I'm saying that, the ironwood's coming right back in. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting tomorrow.
Mike and I, a year and a half ago, came out here and met with Adam Asquith to determine, what the problem was, how bad it was, and we've assessed the problem, where the beetles are located, a little bit better understanding of the biology of the insect, as well as some of the control tactics that we may be able to take to reduce the numbers or potentially eradicate it from the island.
The nature of island ecosystems are such that you can't just keep people out. If you keep people out, they'll just all go to hell. They'll fall apart because of the alien species problems, and the green beetle is one of those. Island systems have to be intensively managed. Otherwise, the alien species would just overrun the systems, and we wouldn't have anything left of these unique island ecosystems.
This is my third trip out here. I was not really aware of the encroachment of the emerald green beetle. It was brought to my attention when Mike and Catherine came out last year. The travel from Sand Island to Easton, I would assume it's almost about a half a mile. The reason why Easton is so pristine over here is because we just don't have any people over here, and that's the way Fish and Wildlife wants to do it. You've got all the migratory birds that come through here. You've got probably one of the highest concentrations of Laysan albatross and also Blackfoot albatross. You've got the sooty terns are in here nesting. You've got the grayback terns in here nesting. You've got the frigate birds, the greater frigate birds. You've got the red-footed boobies. You've got actually some mass boobies down here. I mean, I don't think there's probably a refuge in the United States that can match the diversity. I mean, this is really, this place is tremendous.
Okay, well, we're going to put out some of these traps over here. You're going to bait the traps for our standard placement of traps, and then we're going to compare the lures with the ones that are here and see if the new ones are equal to what we've already got.
Right.
That's the plan?
That's the plan.
And you've got the traps kind of out in a semicircle here.
That's
around this opening where the boat comes in and causes people problems when the beetles land on them. So that's
right, we'll
go do it.
Go for it.
Let's kill some beetles.
Kill.
You're dead. So we've kind of got this three-pronged approach for an integrated pest management, control, or eradication of the beetle. Removing the primary habitat of the beetle with regard to the ironwood trees, and that's what the Fish and Wildlife Service has been doing here on Eastern Island. If you look around, most of the ironwood trees are now these standing snags because they've herbicided them. So removing the primary habitat for the beetle, using the Mach 2 to spray and kill the grubs, and then using the attractant in a mass trapping program for the adults. And those are the tools and the ideas that we've developed over the previous trips.
This is lime preparation from Tracy, people that make the traps, and we're going to compare that to lime that we've had as a standard from before. So
I think that'll do it.
That'll do it.
We tested a whole bunch of potential attractants for the beetle and hit upon a spectacular lure that draws in the adults like fleas to me. And then we've also done some field lab and field tests. And this is what we'll also use this to sample grub to monitor grub densities. So when we actually this trip, when we go into suppression or eradication over here, we'll do some before the eradication and then afterwards. And it's just another way to document decrease of the beetle.
Well, these beetles tend to be attracted to the sweet scents of maybe in perfumes or shampoo or suntan lotion, so it's not uncommon for the beetles to land on you. But in this case, it may also be because I've been putting out some traps, and I may have been touching some of the pheromone that they're attracted to, and so they're also coming to me because of that. I've also got in my hand here are some of the grubs. These are the immature stages. They're found in the ground. And what's interesting about these is insects, they walk on their backs, and that is characteristic to this group of insects. Because we didn't know that much about the beetle, and there isn't that much information out there about this particular beetle, about where they were located, and just to have a better understanding. And what we quickly found out is they are concentrated under the ironwood trees. Under the ironwood trees, you get a large organic mass, a large duff area, and that appears to be a area of preference for the adults to go in and lay their eggs. And what we found out by just kind of looking around at the area where you see a lot of frass, and many times they could go up to 6 to 10 inches of frass. Frass is the excrement of the beetles, and it just looks like small little pellets, basically. Good frass here.
Boy, there's a lot of frass here. You're getting a lot over there. Ooh, yeah.
Look at that. Is that beautiful or
yes.
what? A good spot.
A good spot, yeah.
There's a grub. There's another grub.
So just keep going down through it and down through it. It's just solid frass.
Oh, another one?
Yeah.
And that's a third instar that we can tell because of the size of the head and overall the size of the body. These beetles fall into the same subfamily as, for example, green June beetle. They're a cetoniid, and they have a lot of the same characteristics of the cetoniids. Again, where the female lays her eggs in organic areas. There are likely 3 instars. From the egg, you end up with 3 different stages of larvae. Then the last instar builds a small pupal chamber in which it pupates and then becomes an adult, remaining in that pupal chamber.
We've got a real nice beetle ball here. We'll put them into the container with the other ones and have the grand opening at our talk tonight. Now just while you're putting soil on those, I'll just make a few more swipes through here. We've can move on to another location. Another, whew, 2 grubs in 1 scoop. Playing the slot machine. You always want to do it one more time because you're sure you're going to hit the big one. But,
well, and here you usually do. You find one more grub.
One more big one, yeah. Well, we better get going or we're not going to get our other sites covered. Smooth this out again. Okay, we did pretty well on that.
Yeah, a lot of grubs there.
A lot of frass. We'll go on to the next site and see what we can find over there. We'll be
down there?
Yeah, down there, and see what we can find for beetles, and then we can go on across the runway.
Because I don't think we've actually sampled under these trees. We usually have done back of us and then over across the runway, or have we been here?
No, this is one of our plot sites. Remember, this is one of the.
Up further.
You can see the flags and the stakes still out there so we've got
we definitely don't
official. We've got to stay out of the plots, but just can see what there is here for insects. They still ought to be good. So we can come back to those and actually do a count and find out how well the insecticide does. This one's a 2, and the site is D, so this is the 2x rate of the material. And
when we were thinking about insecticides, we obviously have to be very careful. This is a wildlife refuge, and we have to be concerned about a lot of the wildlife here and what kind of insecticide we might want to use. And there are a few products out there that are considered low-risk pesticides. They are used in very low-use amounts. They have very low mammalian toxicity, and this was one of them. And the reason we like this one also, it does not have a systemic activity. So in other words, it's not taken up in plants and would potentially hurt other insects, which we really don't want to do at this point.
Looks like everything looks pretty much the same as it was last fall when we were here. There's little red-tailed tropic bird chicks nesting under some of the trees. Obviously they haven't been hurt, but there's a lot of good material here. Well, he's saying hello.
Guess we've got to be careful not to get too close to him.
Yeah. Well, we can get in here. Boy, there's really high organic matter here.
High organic, but not a lot of frass.
Not a lot of frass. Lots of worms in it. There goes a real tiny centipede. There's.
That's another sign how good this soil, how organic these little worms. We got excellent results, anywhere between about 94 to 100% control in our test plots with this product. So we were very pleased that it worked as well as it did, and we think it's going to be a nice partner in the trapping program as well as the reduction of the ironwood trees.
Well, lime, which is not the fruit lime, but is L-isoleucine methyl ester, and a colleague in Japan had discovered that lime was a sex attractant for some of the scarabs in Japan, and then noticed that another species in this genus came to the lures when he put them out, and so he suggested we try that here, and boy did it work. They're over here feeding on that, not only on the blossoms. They pretty well finished off those blossoms we looked at the other day, but they're
yeah, looks like they're not attracted to the fruits until they ripen a little bit. Oh, he's completely eaten out the inside.
Yeah, look at there.
That
he's completely eaten it out from the inside. He's sitting inside there, and I bet that's what you'll find with a lot of these. That they're doing the same thing they were doing to the papayas. They're just eating them and start on the outside and go right inside.
I mean, these beetles they're really attractive. You know, they're nice. They don't bite. They're really fun to deal with as an entomologist. But there were so many beetles drawn into the attractant, I actually got the heebie-jeebies a little bit, because it was like being in front of a beehive. They were swarming by the hundreds, if not thousands. So obviously the attractant really draws the beetles in. So what we're trying to do is develop a trapping technique and system that we can catch all those beetles that the attractant draws in.
Norm, I'll hold this up and you can then read it.
2.5 kilograms, which is equivalent to, let's see what we do, that's 5.
Equivalent to about 5,000 beetles. And we caught today.
So, you know, one of the prongs of the integrated pest management approach to dealing with the beetle is removing the living ironwood trees that are producing the organic material that supports the grubs. And that's what we've done here. But these trees have been here, you know, for how many decades, and there's an enormous amount of organic matter already accumulated. So who knows how long that would last and could support how many generations of beetles. So if we want to get rid of them or suppress the population more quickly, we've got to use these other techniques.
Is that this beetle is not currently on the main Hawaiian Islands nor in the U.S. at all. So we would like to develop some control mechanisms so that these islands would not have to be put into a quarantine situation and be forced to make certain treatments before anything leaves these islands.
But I'm really happy with what we've achieved this week. You can look around. You can't just run a transect. You can't just put it in a plot anywhere you want because of the wildlife. Every square meter of ground has some sort of large-scale wildlife on it. If you're not standing on an albatross, you're probably standing on a burrow of a bone-and petrel or a wedge-tailed shearwater. And so you have to overlay our research and pest control needs and requirements on top of the wildlife that's already here. So everything we do is kind of tiptoeing around, you know, the sensitivities of the area.
And I'll have to say this has probably been one of the more successful projects I've been on, particularly a very a field-oriented applied project. And in a short period of time, a year and a half, that we have found an attractive lure. We believe we've made some modifications to the trap such that we will be able to collect large numbers of beetles. We have found an insecticide that will be safe to use in an area like this. And we really think with these tools combined with the reduction of some of the ironwood trees that we will have a very good chance of eliminating this beetle, or at least keeping it at a very low population.